Just now, the Pentagon admitted something astonishing. They have been tracking UFO incidents for nearly 80 years, and there are still 162 cases they cannot fully explain. Now, they have released the files and are asking the world to help find answers. If this were just some folk legend, you probably would not believe it. But this is not a rumor. These are classified records published directly on the official website of the U.S. Department of Defense. They include videos, radar data, and pilot testimonies. All of them are now publicly available for download. This is first-hand information from one of the most authoritative sources in the world, so I had to share it with you. One of the most shocking cases is the 2004 USS Nimitz incident. Two F-18 fighter jets were flying over the Pacific Ocean when they intercepted a white, oval-shaped object. This thing reportedly dropped from 60,000 feet to sea level in less than 1 second. No sonic boom, no exhaust trail, no visible propulsion. Lieutenant Commander David Fravor said its acceleration was at least 100 times the force of gravity. What does that mean? A human pilot can black out at around 9 Gs. At 100 Gs, your internal organs would be crushed instantly. But this object stayed on radar for a full 5 minutes before disappearing into thin air. Even more disturbing is the conclusion given by the Pentagon's UFO investigation team after reviewing these files. Their official judgment can be summed up in one sentence: current science cannot explain it. So what exactly is hidden inside these newly declassified files? And why is the US government suddenly releasing them in 2026? To understand the push behind this disclosure, we have to thank Barack Obama. On February 14th this year, Valentine's Day, Obama casually wrote 8 words on his blog: "It's real, but I've never seen it." He was talking about aliens. That video exploded that night, reaching over 100 million views. 5 days later, Donald Trump posted on social media, demanding that the Department of Defense immediately organize and release all UFO-related files. When a reporter asked Trump whether aliens were real, his answer stunned everyone. He said, "I don't know if it's real, but Obama leaked classified information." He shouldn't have said that. Think about that. It is like two people both know the same secret. One of them says it out loud. The other immediately snaps. Why would you say that? So the question is, does that secret actually exist? On May 8th, the U.S. Department of Defense officially began releasing government UFO files in batches. All of them were uploaded to a new federal government website. Anyone can view them. No special access is required. The first batch contains 162 files, including videos, photos, and original source documents. The timeline stretches from the 1947 Roswell incident all the way to 2026. That is 79 years of records. And the Pentagon's official classification for these cases can be summarized in just 2 words: unexplained phenomena. So what exactly is inside those 162 files? Let's start with one of the strangest cases. In September 2023, a drone operator saw a thread-like object in the sky. The light it emitted was bright enough for him to see layers inside the glowing band. The object was visible for about 5 to 10 seconds. Then the light went out and the object vanished. Pay attention to that word, vanished. It did not fly away. It did not move out of sight. It simply disappeared from view. The pilot's testimony was officially recorded by the FBI and became part of the government file. Another case happened in October 2023 over the waters near Greece. An infrared camera operated by U.S. Central Command captured an unidentified object moving at around 80 miles per hour. It made several sharp 90-degree turns. Yes, 90-degree turns. Physics tells us that any object with mass making a sudden right-angle turn would experience extreme overload. A human pilot would be torn apart. Even an F-22 fighter jet could suffer structural failure under such a maneuver. But in the video, this object turned as easily as if someone were dragging a mouse across a spreadsheet. This footage has become one of the pieces of evidence that has made astrophysicists around the world deeply uneasy. But the most explosive mystery may be the photos taken on the moon. In 1972, during NASA's Apollo 17 mission, photographs showed 3 bright points arranged in a triangular pattern. You have to understand this. The moon has no atmosphere. There is no medium there to scatter light. According to normal physical principles, light spots like this should not appear in that way. During the mission, one astronaut said over the radio, "There's something big outside my window. It's very bright. It looks like fireworks on Independence Day." Another astronaut described it like this: "You can see its shape. It's jagged, angular, like 4 pieces tumbling around." For decades, the official explanation was that it was just ice debris from insulation material that had broken off the spacecraft. But after this new review of the files, the Pentagon stated in the accompanying caption that there is still no consensus on the nature of this anomaly. A new preliminary analysis suggests it may have been a solid object. Pay attention to that phrase, a solid object. They are not completely overturning the old explanation. But they are admitting that the old explanation was never 100% certain either. And this may be the first time the phrase solid object has been used so cautiously in an official description of those moon photos. So what exactly has the United States released? Are these really alien spacecraft? Don't jump to that conclusion yet. Nick West, one of the most famous UFO skeptics in the United States, looked through these 162 files and summed them up in one sentence: more small dots and more timing differences. What does he mean by timing differences? Imagine you are sitting on a high-speed train and looking out the window. A tree close to the tracks may seem to rush past faster than the train itself. But the tree is not moving. You are. Military infrared cameras are often mounted on fighter jets, and the fighter jet itself may be flying at extremely high speed. So what looks like a super-fast UFO may simply be a distant civilian aircraft distorted by perspective. The U.S. Department of Defense also clearly stated that many of the materials released this time had never been made public before. However, the available observation data and supporting evidence are still very limited. That means the U.S. government cannot give a definite scientific explanation for these unidentified aerial phenomena. Unexplained does not mean alien. These are two completely different things. The scientific community's position is actually very clear. Data from NASA's Kepler Space Telescope tells us that there are hundreds of billions of planets in the Milky Way. A significant number of them may lie within habitable zones where liquid water could exist. So yes, the idea that life may exist elsewhere in the universe has scientific support. But going from life may exist somewhere in the universe to alien spacecraft are flying over Earth is an enormous leap. The nearest star system is more than 4 light years away. With the fastest spacecraft humans currently have, it would take around 70,000 years to get there. So why release these files now? This disclosure was carried out under an order from President Donald Trump. In February this year, Trump directed the process to identify and declassify all government files related to unidentified aerial phenomena, UFOs, and related incidents, in order to improve transparency. Trump wrote on social media that previous administrations had lacked transparency on this issue, and that the public should be allowed to judge for themselves what happened. But one detail is worth noting. The Pentagon's own language has been extremely cautious. The Department of Defense clearly stated that, because the available observation data and supporting evidence remain limited, these cases are still unresolved. The Pentagon also said it welcomes researchers and the public around the world to help study the materials. In other words, the government has handed the ball to the public. You study it. We don't have the answer either. And one final point. The Pentagon has confirmed that more files will continue to be released in batches. New materials are expected to come out every few weeks. That means these 162 files are only the appetizer. More records are still on the way. What will be in the next batch? No one knows. Humanity has been chasing UFOs for nearly 80 years. But what we are really chasing is not aliens themselves. What we are chasing is the answer to a much deeper question. Are we alone in this universe? These files do not give us the answer, but they do tell us something else. Pilots, astronauts, FBI agents, defense officials, people who have spent their entire lives being trained not to speak carelessly have seen things they could not explain. And for the first time, the Pentagon seems willing to admit one thing. Current science cannot explain everything. Maybe admitting that we do not know is a little closer to the truth than pretending we know it all. Humanity has spent only a few thousand days outside Earth. And the universe we can observe is only a tiny part of everything that may exist. At this stage, staying open-minded may matter more than rushing to conclusions. So, what do you think these unexplained objects are most likely to be? Tell me in the comments.